Soldier Field just lit up with the headline nobody expected. Drew Dalman is coming to Chicago. A move that shocks the NFC North, a move that reshapes the Bears' offensive identity, and a move that instantly changes the conversation around Caleb Williams' future. Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your daily home for every rumor, every twist, and every spark of speculation that keeps Bears Nation alive. Before we dig in, smash that like button, subscribe now, and hit the comments with your first reaction, because this one is going to divide the fan base. Drew Dalman, center of the Atlanta Falcons, isn't just another lineman. He's one of the most consistent anchors in the league. A player who has quietly built a reputation as a technician with intelligence, footwork, and toughness. He's young, entering his prime, and he's coming from a system that demanded versatility. For the Bears, who are trying to protect their crown jewel in Caleb Williams, this is exactly the kind of acquisition that makes sense. Think back to last season. The Bears had flashes of offensive brilliance, but too often it was sabotaged by protection breakdowns. Williams felt pressure up the middle before plays even developed. The interior line struggled to pick up stunts, blitzes, and delayed pressures. It wasn't just about tackles on the edge. It was about the heart of the pocket caving in. That's the nightmare for any rookie quarterback, and it's why Bears fans have been begging for reinforcement in the trenches. Dalman represents stability. He's disciplined with quick recognition and strong communication. Centers aren't just bodies snapping the ball. They're quarterbacks of the offensive line. They identify blitzes, shift protections, and set the tone for every play. Bringing in Dalman would mean giving Williams a shield, a voice, and a veteran presence in the huddle. Now imagine the ripple effects. With Dalman snapping the ball, the entire offensive line shifts in confidence. Guards play freer. Tackles trust the inside won't collapse, and suddenly the passing game breathes. The Bears' run game benefits too. Dalman is known for mobility, pulling, reaching, and climbing to the second level. In Luke Getsy's zone schemes that stalled last year, Dalman could be the engine that finally makes it run smoothly. Think of what this means against NFC North rivals. Against the Packers' aggressive fronts, Dalman's communication becomes the antidote to exotic blitz packages. Against the Lions' Hutchinson-led pass rush, he plugs the middle so Williams can step up and deliver. Against the Vikings, he neutralizes twists and inside stunts that killed drives last season. It's not just about one man. It's about how one man unlocks everyone else, and culturally, Dalman fits. He's not flashy, not chasing spotlight, not the kind of player who shows up in commercials. He's a grinder, a worker, someone who thrives in the mud of the trenches. Bears fans respect that. Chicago is built on cold winds, bruising football, and legends of toughness. Dalman isn't here to be a superstar. He's here to be the foundation. Financially, this isn't the kind of blockbuster that breaks the cap. Centers rarely demand top-dollar deals, but their value to the system is enormous. For the Bears, this is a smart play. Invest in protection. Invest in the trenches. Invest in Williams' future. Because what's the point of drafting a generational quarterback if you don't protect him? But here's the catch, Bears Nation. As perfect as this sounds, as real as it feels, Drew Dalman to Chicago is not official. Not yet. This is speculation, whispers in the market, ideas that analysts float, dreams that fans breathe into existence. And yet, doesn't it feel like it should happen? Doesn't it feel like the type of move Poles has to make if he's serious? About changing this franchise? We've been burned before. We've watched other teams build walls around their young quarterbacks while we left ours exposed. We saw what happened to Justin Fields when the pocket collapsed every other snap. We saw flashes of brilliance suffocated by breakdowns. And now, with Caleb Williams, the Bears cannot repeat history. They cannot let the same mistakes define another era. Dalman represents more than a player. He represents an identity shift. He's the kind of lineman you build around for the next 5 years, the kind of signing that says, we're serious about protecting our investment. The kind of signing that tells the locker room the front office has their back. Picture Soldier Field in November. The wind howling, the Packers bringing pressure. Dalman calls the shift, points out the linebacker, snaps, and anchors the middle. Williams has time. He plants, he fires, he delivers. Touchdown Bears. That's what Dalman gives you, not just blocks, but belief. So, where do we stand? Somewhere between dream and reality. For now, Drew Dalman to the Bears is still a rumor. But it's the kind of rumor that makes sense in every way. Football sense, financial sense, cultural sense, and maybe that's why it feels so powerful. Because it's not just wild fantasy, it's a blueprint. So, let me ask you, Bears Nation, is Drew Dalman the anchor we've been waiting for? The piece that secures Caleb's future and finally gives this franchise stability in the trenches? Or is this just another off-season mirage, a story we cling to because it feels right? Drop your answers below because your voice is the roar that drives this city. And trust me, in Chicago, that roar is ready to be heard. But here's the catch, Bears Nation. As perfect as this sounds, as real as it feels, Drew Dalman to Chicago is not official, not yet. This is speculation, whispers in the market, ideas that analysts float, dreams that fans breathe into existence. And yet, doesn't it feel like it should happen? Doesn't it feel like the exact type of move Ryan Poles has to make if he's truly serious about changing the future of this franchise? Because when you look at the blueprint of every great team in NFL history, from the dynasties in New England to the recent surge in Philadelphia, it always starts in the trenches. The quarterback can be golden, the receiver's electric, the scheme innovative. But if the center and the line don't hold, everything collapses, and Bears fans know this truth too well. We've been burned before. We've watched other franchises invest in walls around their young quarterbacks, while here in Chicago, we left ours exposed. We saw what happened to Justin Fields. Flashes of brilliance, breathtaking scrambles, but too often those moments were drowned in pressure. The pocket collapsed almost every other snap. The middle of the line caved in, turning promising drives into chaos. Fields never stood a chance to develop into what he could have been, and now, with Caleb Williams, the Bears simply cannot repeat. History. They cannot let the same mistakes define another era, not when they have a generational talent with the keys to the franchise in his hands. That's why Dalman feels so much bigger than just a name. He represents more than a player. He represents a shift in philosophy, an identity change, a sign that the Bears are finally willing to prioritize the foundation before the flash. He's the kind of lineman you build around for the next 5 years, the kind of signing that says, we're serious about protecting our investment. We're serious about competing for titles. It's the kind of move that resonates through the locker room, telling every player that the front office is committed to doing things the right way. Close your eyes and picture Soldier Field in November. The wind howling off Lake Michigan. Cold. Cutting through the air, the Packers bringing pressure with their trademark blitz packages. Dalman crouches over the ball, scanning the defense, calling out the shift. He points to the linebacker, adjusts the protection, then snaps and anchors. Caleb Williams takes his drop, feels the pocket hold, plants with confidence, and delivers a strike to the end zone. Touchdown Bears. That's what Dalman gives you. Not just blocks, not just execution, but belief. Belief that this time the Bears can line up against their rivals and not flinch, and extend that vision further. Against the Lions, with Hutchinson crashing the edge, Dalman keeps the interior clean so Williams can step up and fire. Against the Vikings, when they twist and stunt inside, Dalman picks it up, buys that crucial extra second, and lets a deep ball sail into the waiting arms of DJ Moore. Against the Packers, on 4th and short, Dalman explodes off the snap, driving his man back and paving the way for a first down that keeps the drive alive. These aren't fantasies. These are the plays that separate playoff teams from pretenders, the details that turn games in December. And culturally, could there be a more Chicago move? This city was built on toughness, on trenches, on cold weather football where linemen became legends. From the monsters of the Midway to the bruising defenses of the 2000s, the Bears' identity has always been tied to grit up front. Adding Dalman doesn't just make sense on a depth chart, it makes sense in the DNA of the team. He's not flashy. He's not here for headlines. He's here to get dirty, to fight in the mud, to win in the shadows. That's Bears football. But this is where we remind ourselves of reality. For now, Drew Dalman to the Bears is still just a rumor, a possibility, a story born out of whispers and logic. Nothing is official. The ink hasn't dried, the deal hasn't been made, and in the NFL, until the signature's on the page, it's still a dream. And yet, doesn't it feel different this time? Doesn't it feel like all the pieces line up? Financial sense, football sense, cultural sense, it checks every box. That's why this rumor has weight. That's why it doesn't feel like just another headline to scroll past. So, where do we stand? Somewhere between dream and destiny. Somewhere between fantasy and blueprint. And maybe that's why it's so powerful. Because it's not just wild speculation, it's the kind of idea that makes too much sense to ignore. So let me ask you, again, Bears Nation, is Drew Dalman the anchor we've been waiting for, the piece that secures Caleb's future and finally gives this franchise stability in the trenches? Is he the signing that changes everything, that stops the cycle of wasted talent and broken promises? Or is this just another off-season mirage, a story we cling to because it feels right in our hearts? The truth is, it's up to us to keep the fire alive. Drop your answers below. Make your voices heard, because your roar is the heartbeat of this city. Your belief is the fuel that pushes the conversation from speculation to reality. And trust me, in Chicago, that roar has never been louder, never been stronger, and it's ready to shake the NFL to its core.